Did you see that shit? MMA podcast. Hosted by mixed martial arts journalist Mike Strauss, aka Strauss21, and Chicago's number one underground comedian, Apollo Taj Mahal.
Yo, Apollo.
What's poppin', man?
I hate saying I told you so. No, who am I kidding? I love saying I told you so. DJ won, Cody won, and unfortunately I was right about Jose Shorty Torres too.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. Why do you think I didn't text you for the entire duration of these fights?
Just call me Strauss Damas.
Oh, my God. How do you keep picking? Why didn't you bet money on this?
Well, I bet a little bit, but I only hit a 4-fight parlay, so a little bit of money, but not too much.
Oh, well, all right. You're buying dinner.
Huge show. We're going to talk about UFC 227. Conor is back. He's fighting Khabib Nurmagomadov, UFC 229. Also, Nate Diaz is back. He's going to be fighting Dustin Poirier. We'll talk a little bit about that. And we have 3 big interviews, too, man. Ricky Bandejas, he's making his Bellator debut at 204 against James Gallagher. One of our favorite people on the show ever, AJ Mathews. He's fighting Logan Storley.
So awesome.
We'll play that interview. And, of course, Eryk, your boy Anders. He's fighting Tim Williams at UFC Lincoln. And we will play that interview as well, man. So let's get into it. Of course, if you don't know by now, you are listening to the Did You See That Shit Mixed Martial Arts podcast. I am Mike Strauss, a.k.a. Strauss21. That is Apollo Taj Mahal, Chicago's number one underground comedian. Together, we make up this thing called the Did You See That Shit Mixed Martial Arts podcast. We appreciate all the love and support, guys. Whatever platform you're listening to us on, whether it's Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes, YouTube, just keep doing it. Like, subscribe, share. We appreciate all the interaction. If you want to get more intimate, give us an email, mike@didyousee.com. And we are on social media too, a.k.a. Strauss21 and
Apollo T. Mahal. Also, I would like to give a huge shout out to a very close friend of mine that has passed. She was a supporter of the show. Her favorite episode is when we had Bruce Buffer on. She was absolutely in love with Bruce Buffer. She passed away last night. A very close friend of mine, Laura Wilson. I didn't get to know her as long as I wish I did, but she did have a profound impact on my life. And I'm going to say rest in peace to her. My prayers, my thoughts go out to her family. And thank you for all the support you gave us doing this show, listening to us when not a lot of people were. So, like I said, we're going to get on with the show and do what she would like to hear, talk about MMA.
all right. That's never good to hear anything like that. But, yeah, my thoughts and positive vibes are sent out to her family. That's it's terrible news, but we will try to do her honor here and try to have a kick-ass show. And, of course, anytime you get to talk to Bruce Buffer, it's a good time, man. So
she said you would jump him. Like she's like, I don't care that he's married. I want him.
All right, so, pal, UFC 227, man, it's in the books. Cody Garbrandt, he falls, and now he's lost 2 to TJ Dillashaw, pretty much assuring that he will not get a third opportunity to fight as long as TJ's the champion, right?
I don't always believe that. It depends on how long he's a champion and how well Cody does, but not anytime soon.
Yeah, right.
Where do you think Cody goes from this place, man?
I'd like to see Cody Garbrandt maybe, I don't know. The Dominic Cruz fight kind of interests me, but I want to see Dominic Cruz fight TJ Dillashaw again because I don't believe that Cruz beat Dillashaw very definitively.
Either do I. I think that's a great fight to make, and it'll also solidify TJ, in my opinion, as one of the greatest bantamweights of all time.
Definitely, but as far as where Cody Garbrandt goes, that is a much more interesting question, man. I'd like to see him take maybe a little bit of time off because he's had a couple of fights, in
very,
recent
very
proximity.
close, yeah.
Take a good 6 months off, man, 8 months. What I'd like to see Cody do is take some time off, maybe 6 months, and have him fight the winner of the John Dodson, Jimmy Rivera fight.
Ooh, when is that fight?
UFC 228.
I think that is a very, very good idea. That will definitely be a great matchup for him next. I actually think maybe he should think about going down to 125 if he can make the cut now that it's all shaken up down there.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I think he probably could make the cut. I don't know. He is pretty thin. It would be pretty close. And we already said I'd like to see TJ fight Dominic next, but it looks like there might be a fight between him and Cejudo. That's what everybody kind of wants.
Yeah, I think that's a good fight to make, even though I truly believe, and maybe not everybody else, to make it more of Henry Cejudo as the champ, let's have a rematch of DJ versus Henry Cejudo. He was a champion for a long time. I think it's only right that he does get an immediate rematch.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody ever deserved an immediate rematch, any champion, it has to be Mighty Mouse, right? You can't
definitely
argue it. Can't argue against it. Also, I guess I'll just mention it on top of the show so I don't have to keep bringing it up after every fight, but I went 11 for 12 out of UFC 227. I had a good night, to say the least. The one fight I missed was I picked Polyana Viana to beat JJ Aldrich. I was wrong there, but I was right about Renato Moicano beating Cub Swanson. I just don't think Swanson has it anymore.
Yeah, I think he should have went to Bellator when he had the chance. I'm going to say this, though. Guys, when he's on a hot streak like this and picking big fights, he's the most annoying person to talk to in the world, okay?
This might be true.
He has been on a hot streak. Keep listening to Mike Strauss because for some reason he is picking these fights and it's mad annoying.
I'm sure it'll all even out. But rounding out the main card on 227, Thiago Santos, Kevin Holland. I kind of poo-pooed this fight, but it was actually not a bad fight.
It was a very good fight.
Thiago Santos did get the decision win over him, though. And on the undercard, Pedro Munoz, he beat Brett Johns. Decent little fight. Our boy Ricky Simone, he got the nod over Montel Quick Jackson. And, unfortunately, Alex Perez, he beat Jose Shorty Torres. I said, man, I just saw something different in Shorty Torres. Hopefully he gets it figured out because I think, he's definitely a top 10, top 15 guy. But, and you know better than anyone, fighting is 90% mental. And maybe to the outsider that doesn't make sense. But anybody that knows anything about combat sports will tell you it is extremely mental.
Yeah, when that cage locks, your brain needs to be locked in. Because you can train all you want, you can do everything you want, but when that cage door locks, it's a different experience.
This is true. So moving along here, Bellator 204 happens in just a little over a week. We had a chance to speak with a lot of dudes on the card. We spoke with Ricky Bandejas. I actually spoke with him, about a month ago, and I wanted to wait a little bit until we got closer. I spoke with him right after they had announced that he was signed with Bellator, and in our conversation, as you'll hear, he had already signed a bout agreement. Turns out it was for James Gallagher. The next day or two, they announced the fight. But it's funny because we actually talk about James Gallagher in this, and I actually say to him, man, hopefully you're going to be fighting on this South Dakota card. It actually all worked out. Here's our conversation with Ricky Bandejas. I want to welcome Ricky Bandejas to the show. 10-1, 5-fight win streak, and you just signed with Bellator, I saw.
Yeah, I signed about 2 months ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
It's a big deal, man. Do you have any, do they rather have any plans for you yet?
Yeah, we got something, I just signed a contract for a fight, but, I'm not allowed to mention when and against who yet. I think they want to market that themselves.
Right, that's absolutely understandable. I go to a lot of Bellator shows in the Midwest. I should state first. So hopefully you'll end up on maybe the 204 card I saw in Sioux Falls. That would be pretty cool. I'll probably be there in August. But if not, I'm sure wherever they decide to put you, you're going to be you're going to be one of the big attractions there because you are 10-1. You're riding a 5-fight win streak, and if people haven't seen you fight, man, you're all action.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I can't wait, 5-fight win streak. I want to keep it going, make it 6, and just working on my game. I can't wait to, it's been a while since I fought. Last time I think I fought in December, so can't wait to show my improvement.
You were supposed to fight Askar, but that fight got scrapped, and that was at CFFC 70 earlier this year, right?
Yes, that was, I believe, May, but that got scratched because of health issues. But that's all squared away now, and I'm 100%, and I can't wait to, fight.
So, being just 26 years old, man, and already being, at Bellator, one of the premier mixed martial arts organizations in the entire world, man, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot, I started this journey when I was 18, and, signing with Bellator is no different to me than signing with the UFC. It's a dream of mine. And it just shows that I've been doing the right stuff, and I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and hopefully, become the champ in Bellator.
135 is interesting, man, because, I just saw James Gallagher is going down there. Of course, you got the champion, Darren Caldwell, is actually going up at Bellator 204, so it's kind of interesting right now. It's definitely...
Oh, wow, I didn't even know that. He is going up?
Yeah, he's not going up permanently. I think it's just a one-off. He's going up to fight Noah Ladat. So I think they're just...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just a one-off. I just saw right before just saw the press release right before we hooked up here. So it's pretty fresh. But so I don't think he's gonna end up being that. It's just kind of like a one-off, like a super fight, if you will. But basically, man, that division is ripe for a guy like you, who's young, who's talented, to come right in there and really man, I mean, 1 or 2 fights and you could be fighting for the title.
Absolutely, man. You know, I can't wait. I know that Darren Cole is a champ, and he kind of pretty much beat everybody, you know, that's in the division, minus, you know, like you said, Gallagher is coming down. But, you know, I can't wait to go in there and shake things up.
So you train, or you spend most of your time at Nicotone, is that right?
Yes, Nicotone and Bricktown.
Some of the guys you get to roll with on a regular basis, who are they?
Mark Henry has the Russian guys. I don't even want to try and butcher their names. There's a handful of them. One's Timur. You got Timur. Occasionally with Marlon Moraes. Claudio Ledesma is a big training partner of mine. And then there's a bunch of amateur guys, undefeated amateur guys Nick has. That's a bunch of killers. You know, I get a lot of work in with them.
Do you spend a lot of time with Mark Henry too?
No, I don't work with him. He's just in the gym with me, you know. And then if I'm sparring some of his guys, you know, he'll give me some insight on you know, how to make me better. But no one-on-one time.
So you said you've been training since you were 18 years old. I mean,
yes.
Honestly, that's you kind of got a late start, right? Because you know you're seeing a lot of guys now that have been training since, like, you know, they could walk. What were you doing before you started training?
I wrestled in high school. My junior and senior year, I was on the varsity. You know, I started getting into a junior year. I wrestled varsity. Senior year, wrestled varsity, and I wanted to continue, but I didn't want to go away to college. I wanted to stay, you know, around town. And coincidentally, Nick Catone opened up his gym the same year I graduated. So I signed up there, and I was working out, and he asked if I wanted to fight. You know, I fought, and I fell in love with it, and I've been winning ever since, so it's kind of hard to quit.
So you've always been an athlete. You've always been a wrestler, then. It wasn't something that you just decided one day you were going to do. You've always had that background.
Yeah, well, wrestling started my sophomore year in college, in high school. And I didn't take it serious sophomore year. I just signed up for the team. And then junior year, I took it serious. I had pretty much 2 years of it before I decided to fight, because I wanted to continue. Most wrestlers, they start when they're, you know, once they start walking, they're on the wrestling mat. So by the time they get to high school, most of them burn out. Me, I was just getting started. So I signed up at the gym, and I love it.
Now, you'll always be a wrestler. You know, once a wrestler, always a wrestler at heart, you know. But how would you describe your fighting style to a fan who hasn't seen you fight yet?
You know, just a guy who's looking to come forward, great cardio, and I'm always just looking to push the pace and hopefully break my opponent.
Well, man, I appreciate you doing this. I always like to give you guys a few minutes here to say what you'd like, man, whether you want to shout your sponsors, your teammates, anything you'd like, man.
You know, thank you for having me. You know, shout out to all my teammates. You know, I train with Claudio Desmond, my coach, Nick Catone. The only sponsor I really have that's behind me right now is Be Clean Bro. And thank you for, you know, standing behind me, and that's it pretty much. Awesome.
Well, I appreciate your time, Ricky. I can't wait to see what Bellator has for you, man. And I really, truly think that you're going to really shake things up there.
Oh, man, thank you so much. That means a lot. I'm excited to, can't wait till they announce my first fight. The big one.
Can't wait, man. I'll be waiting. I'd like to have you back, too.
All right, man. Take care. Enjoy your night and your weekend.
You too, man. Take care. All right, there you go.
I'm so excited that he's in Bellator.
Yeah, I think he has a real opportunity. He could really take the division by storm. He's first. He has a very tough challenge, though, against James Gallagher. He trains at SPG Ireland with McGregor and all those guys. So that's definitely a challenge. But, man, I'm telling you, I like this kid Bandejas. He there's something about him. He's got a little edge to him. I like him.
I like what Bellator's doing right now, man. It's fun.
For sure. Also on that 204 card, we had a chance to speak with one of our favorite people we ever had on the show, AJ Mathews.
Woo!
He's coming off a meniscus surgery. He after he beat his buddy Kendall Grove in a close fight earlier this year, he told me in our conversation that he had a meniscus tear in his knee. He's about 6-7 months removed from that. He feels great, man. He sounds awesome. Here's our conversation with AJ Mathews, and man, I can't wait for the fight against Logan Storley. I want to welcome back to the show for the second time AJ Mathews. He's competing at this weekend's Bellator 204 co-main event spot against Logan Storley. Welcome back, AJ. And man, I'm just so excited. This is such a huge opportunity for you.
It really is.
Why did this fight? Why was this the one that you jumped all over with Logan?
Well, you know what? I just re-signed with Bellator, and then that was the first offer. And the reason I said yes, well, I'd say yes to any fight, but the reason I really wanted this fight is, man, I'm from South Dakota.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, from like 4 to 14. You know what I mean? I went to high school, like 1 year of high school there, and I got a bunch of friends coming. My family, grandma, cousins, they're all going to be there.
Okay, so this is a way bigger fight than it didn't even seem to be, and it was already a massive fight in my eyes because it's a co-main event. It's a huge fight,
man.
But this is
it's all big, man.
This is massive for you, man. How many people do you think are going to be there for you?
Maybe 100.
Damn, that's gonna be a frenzy, man. And so without giving away too much of your game plan, I mean, Logan, he's gonna try to grapple you, and you like to put on a show. You like to keep a fight standing. So have you been training a lot of takedown defense for this?
Yeah. I've recently in my last 2 fights, the way that we've been training is just a little bit more striking anti-wrestling, level changes. You know what I mean? Being able to keep my stance low, but beyond that kind of shit, because that's just from range, and that kind of takes away a lot of the takedowns sometimes. But yeah, if he gets in on a takedown, we've been working that, and then if he gets me down, we've been working that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't take him lightly at all. You know what I'm saying? I know that he's a tough dude. It's gonna be nonstop, 15 minutes maybe. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm down with that, dude. But yeah, at any time I could put him out. At any time he can put me out, because he fucking still throws. You know what I'm saying? Everybody does.
Yeah, no, that's 100% true, man. I mean, anybody can really take out anybody. Especially when you get up to the elite levels like you. I mean, anybody at any given night could really take out their opponent there, man. But it's been a little while since you fought last. You had that epic battle with your close friend Kendall, and you got the nod on that night, man. But what have you been up to since?
Man, I had knee surgery. I tore my meniscus and some of my calf tendons, so I ended up having knee surgery. I went back to the Philippines where I've been, living, and then just recovered, and then just got back to training as I could, and then the fight came. Flew back to San Diego. You know what I mean? I'm in Chula Vista training with my original team. Team Alliance, Coach Eryk Del Fiero. We got so many gangsters, and then my Filthy Few squad. Pat Cummins came out, and he's helping me with my wrestling. Obviously, he's fucking good at wrestling.
One of the best in the world, yeah. So the Philippines, man, how much time? That's where you call your permanent residence is in the Philippines, right?
Yeah. Well, now I'm kind of up in the air, but that's where I've been last year and a half. Except when I would sign for a fight, I would come do my training camp in the States.
And then you said that you get your camps in with the Alliance and Eryk Del Fiero. Nothing has changed for this camp except for, it sounds like the knee injury. So how many months removed are you from the meniscus tear surgery?
I was beginning of February. It was right after the Kendall fight that I got. Yeah, it was real quick. I got it done. And it was just a meniscus, you know what I mean? So that's not even a real injury.
Yeah, it's great. It's funny you say that, man, because my stepfather actually, he just went to the doctor, and he actually has a slight tear, and he's going to be needing surgery. But it's such a simple thing now. It's like you're in and out the same day, right?
Well, the thing that sucked for me is that the doctor comes in, and he's like, "Oh, good news. We can salvage your meniscus." So they reconstructed it, and that means that the recovery is longer. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But whatever. Either way.
But in the long run, that's probably the better way to go about it, right? Because it's your own body.
Yeah, that was his idea. That was the whole idea, But I would have rather he just cleaned it out and I could be back to, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to get you back in there. So, yeah. I mean, you're only 30 years old, man. Do you feel like you're just now kind of everything's coming together, hitting your stride?
Yeah. Things have, like I said, man, the last year has really been like, wow, man, I can really achieve the goals that I set for myself. You know what I mean? Not that I didn't ever believe in it, but man, you know what I mean? You go on, you lose a couple fights, and it's hard, But just made some changes in my life, and man, yeah, I'm feeling good.
Yeah, for sure, man. How many? You said you just re-signed with Bellator. How many fight deal was it?
3.
3-fight deal, and this is going to be the first one here in August. That's going to be man, that's awesome. I'm just so happy that things are going so well for you, man. And
I appreciate it, bro.
The 204 card in South Dakota here, it's a sneaky good card, man. There's a lot of good fighters on that card, and of course,
Claxton. Got Taiwan Claxton, got Caldwell. It's going to be nice, man.
Yeah, Noah Ladat's going up to fight Caldwell, as you mentioned. Caldwell, he's a guy that trains at Alliance too, right?
Yeah. Caldwell's here. We're doing camp together, and then Taiwan. I met him when I was training at the Black Zillions with the Filthy Few, Coach Neil Melanson and them.
Wow. So, are you a little bit too big for Caldwell to roll around and train with, or do you guys?
Yeah. But when I'm drilling, he'll have an eye on. He'll keep an eye on me. You know what I'm saying? Give me pointers on the wrestling, and he's helping out some like pretty good high school guys that are closer to my weight, and I'll get to drill with them too. You know, so he's playing his part as much as he can.
And then you mentioned Coach Neil Melanson. You and him have a tremendous relationship there, right?
Yeah. I love Coach Neil.
Man, it sounds like everything's going fantastic for you, man. I can't wait. I'm just happy that you're going to be in South Dakota, which is just right on the cusp there of where I can travel to here in the Midwest. So
that's awesome, yo.
It's going to be a great night, man. I can't wait. I can't believe it's only a week away, man. Are you ready?
That's right. Let's go.
Well, man, I always like to give you guys a few minutes here. Shout out your teammates, coaches, whatever you'd like to, brother. The floor is yours.
I really appreciate it, man. Shout out Aussie's Fight Team, Boardwalk Law, Versa Climber always got my back, Team MRM, my supplement company, Meal Prep Co. SD. Those guys are the best. Barangay Tibay out there in the Philippines. But, mainly just you, man. I appreciate you having me on and all that. Oh, bad boy. Bad boy. But I really appreciate it, dude. And then hit me up. Just hit me up when you get out there, and then maybe we can have a coffee or something like that.
Sounds great, man. Will do. I appreciate your time, AJ.
Cool.
Take care, brother.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye. All right, there you go.
I'm so happy he's back.
I'm so happy he's doing great. Yeah,
I know. It's a weird...
Talented dude.
It's been 6-7 months since he fought?
Yeah, February he had the surgery, so...
Wow, time flies.
It does, yeah. So UFC Lincoln is right around the corner, too. It's a pretty decent little card, man. I'm actually going to be there. This is the first time the UFC decided to credential me, so that should be fun. World. Yeah, UFC Lincoln is going to be Justin Gaethje, James Vick.
Holy shit.
We don't have to give our picks on that quite yet. But, man, what do you think about that fight?
I'm going to be screaming, did you see that shit for the entire duration of that fight. Just, did you see that? Did you see that? Also, I'm hiding in your bag on your way to Lincoln, okay?
I don't think I'll be able to carry that one on. Also on the card, man, Michael Johnson's fighting Andre Fili, and Eryk Anders fighting Tim Williams. We had a chance to speak with Eryk Anders, and we'll play that in just a little bit. Also, Jake Ellenberger is fighting Brian Barberino. We just spoke with Brian Barberino. I think we played it on the last episode. It's a really good card, man. Even, all the way through. We got Luke Sanders fighting there, Drew Dober.
Man, UFC Lincoln is going to be beasting and feasting, man.
Check this out, man. The first two fights of the night feature James Krause fighting Worley Alves and Mickey Gall is fighting George Sullivan. Those are the first two fights.
That's the first two fights?
Exactly.
Holy... the UFC is gunning it. I just saw their little preview. Mm-hmm. Holy cow. I'm excited for the fall.
The preview for what?
For their fights that they have coming up. The summer and fall fights, the headliners. They showed them all, and I saw the press conference. And,
oh, yeah.
We will probably get into it later on in the show about the McGregor Khabib fight, but that is not the most exciting fight I am excited for in this entire time.
We'll hold that thought. Here's our conversation with your boy, Eryk Anders.
Oh, yeah.
I want to welcome back Eryk Anders to the show. Has a huge fight coming up here, man, against Tim Williams at Fight Night 135 in Lincoln, Nebraska. What's going on, man?
Hey, nothing much, man. Just hanging out, getting ready for the fight.
Very cool. Well, I will be there. I will be in Lincoln, so we'll get to meet finally in person, and it's going to be a great fight, man. Tim Williams, I don't know if the casual fan really knows about him, but he's 15-4, and he's a hell of a fighter, man. This is going to be an exciting fight between you guys.
Yeah, he likes to press forward and move forward. I like to move forward, so I assume we're going to meet in the middle and, let the hands fly.
I personally think that you are one of the best prospects right now in the middleweight division. I don't believe that you lost the fight against Machida. I believe that you won that fight, but I'm not a judge. But here we are, and this is the first time you're going to get to fight in the States this year. Are you excited to be back home?
Yeah, I enjoy international travel and fighting internationally. So, I think it's no secret to the UFC and to the fans that I'm down to fight anybody, anytime, anywhere, and I truly mean that. So, I'm down to take a road trip or play an away game, if you will.
Yeah, I hear you, man. So, I have a question. You had one of your fights was in Bellator. Why did you just have one fight with them? Did you just sign a one-fight deal? Because, I don't know why they wouldn't have signed you,
I'm not sure. That's a question for them. You know, when I fought for them, it was just a one fight deal. They were coming to Memphis, so they asked one of the local matchmakers to match the undercard. So I fought for a fight promotion called V3 several times, and was their light heavyweight champion as an amateur. And man, they gave me the call. I made quick work of my opponent. Knocked him out in 23 seconds. And, I thought I did my fair share of politicking. I went in there, introduced myself, and talked to Scott Coker and some of the other matchmakers. But, I just never heard anything back or got a call back or anything like that. So, man, it's all good. No worries. I think it worked out better for me in the long run.
No, it absolutely did, man. It absolutely did. And you're killing it, brother. Like I said, I don't believe that you lost that last fight against Machida. Have you changed anything up, though, for this camp?
Not really, man. Just more, the main thing that I've changed is my output. I need, I think the only reason why he beat me is because he threw and landed more strikes. I know that sounds silly and obvious, but, he was just throwing, like, little leg kicks. So, during the fight, in my head, I'm like, that's not a significant strike. It didn't do any damage, didn't do anything to change the outcome of the fight. He just kept touching me with his big toe. And, they were scoring him a significant strike. So, one of the big takeaways, and I wasn't as active as I would like to be, and I usually am. So, a couple of big takeaways from that fight is, man, be more aggressive, not just pressure, not just in their face, but, throw more volume. I had elbow surgery right after the fight, so, I was in a little bit of pain. I had some injuries going on during the fight. So, man, I'm 100% healthy. Been in the gym, been in the lab for the last 6 months. And, man, just been chomping at the bit to get back in the octagon.
For sure. And also, let's not forget that fight was in Brazil, so that might help just a little bit too, right?
I'm sure, but at the same time, I fought a 5-round fight and wasn't even breathing hard at the end of the fight. And it's not because I have, like, dog-like stamina or anything. It's just because my output wasn't where it needed to be. So I think with a little bit more output, I win that fight even more decisively. So, I don't plan on letting any of my fights go to the judges anymore. So we'll see how it goes.
I hear you, man. So I was looking on Twitter, man, and I saw this cool thing. This on Fox Sports, you and Coach Saban. It looks like this. It's the story of Fighting Tide, the story of you. This thing looks awesome, man. When can we expect to see this?
I believe it premieres on Fox August 22nd. It's a Wednesday. Yeah, Coach Saban was gracious enough to let us get some of his time, especially during the busiest time of the year, man. He was interviewing coaches, he was out recruiting, but he took a day, he sat down with us, watched a little film of me when I was in college playing under him, and then me, fighting in the UFC and whatnot. And it was just a great day, and it's good to get back to Tuscaloosa and reconnect with Nick Saban.
I can't wait because, Coach Saban's one of the best, probably the best to ever do it, at the college level anyway. And, what you've gone on to do after your college career, it's really cool, man. I just can't wait to see it. I appreciate you doing this, Eryk. I always like to give guys a few minutes here. Shout out your coaches, training partners, sponsors, whatever you'd like, bro. The floor is yours.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure being on the show. Special shout out to Vitamin Energy and Infinite CBD. You guys can follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Eryk Anders, ERYKANDERS. And, man, always big thank you to all the fans and supporters, training partners, coaches, everybody down there at SBG, Alabama, Spartan Fitness, and helping me get ready for these fights, man. It's big.
Well, I appreciate your time, Eryk. Best of luck to you, and we'll connect in Lincoln.
Hey, looking forward to it, brother.
Take care, man.
Yeah, you too.
All right, there you go.
He's gone on an amazing card, and the fact that he's going to be facing Tim Williams is going to be a huge step up. It's going to get his name on the map, man.
For sure. I don't think he lost the split decision against Machida. That fight was in Brazil. And, Eryk Anders, I mentioned that to him. He wouldn't have any part of that, though. He took total responsibility for it. I can't wait, as we were talking about in the interview, Alabama Fighting Tide Spirit, and it's a documentary about him. It's going to be following his life. It premieres the day after my birthday, August 22nd. So check that out, man. Your boy, Eryk Anders. All right. So you alluded to it, man. The UFC had that 25th anniversary press conference in Los Angeles. Their big surprise, besides being 30 minutes late to the show, was Nate Diaz is back. He's fighting Dustin the Diamond Poirier. What do you think of that fight?
I want rocket sounds. I want everything kind of sound. This is awesome. This is what I really care about. Listen, I knew I was going to get a Khabib Conor fight. You've been talking about it for a while, saying that you have sources telling you it's going to happen.
And then
it happened. Cool. I was expecting it. I was not expecting this kind of fireworks.
Crazy.
Nate Diaz and Dustin Poirier.
I mean, 4 days before that, Poirier was saying he's holding out. He doesn't care how long it takes. He's waiting for the title. And then, boom, 24 hours later, Nate Diaz is back fighting him.
And I think that fight has the makings to be the fight of the year. I'm not making a pick yet. We will make a pick when that comes around. But guess what? We are going to be repping 209, talking mad craziness on this podcast for that fight.
So you might have noticed, man, at the end of that press conference, I mean, it seemed rushed, the whole thing.
Yeah.
I was like trying to get through it to play the promo of Khabib versus McGregor. Did you notice that Nate Diaz stormed out of the press conference and then he held like a little mini press conference of his own on the sidewalk, trashed the UFC, trashed Dana, trashed Khabib, trashed everybody, just in typical Nate fashion. And some people don't think now. I mean, Nate even said himself he's not going to fight, but Dustin Poirier doesn't believe that for 1 second the fight's going to happen.
Listen, Nate, I love you, and I love hearing you talk that stuff because you're a real one.
My nigga.
Please fight Dustin Poirier, okay? That's all I want in this life.
I definitely think the fight's going to happen, don't you?
Yeah. Well, did you see there was a picture and it showed all the scenarios of each fight of Conor McGregor versus Khabib, Nate Diaz versus Dustin Poirier. No matter what scenario, we have Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor.
Yeah, that's about it. Too,
yeah,
right?
it was hilarious. So I think this is going to lead to probably one of the highest grossing UFC pay-per-views of all time. Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor 3.
Yeah, probably will be, if that does happen, that probably will eclipse with the fight that I think will be the new number one, and that's Conor versus Khabib.
Yep.
That was also announced, man. The UFC is making, or MMA in general is making a big wave here with those two guys back. What do you think of the Conor Khabib fight? I know we're not going to pick on it, but what's your initial reactions to that fight?
My initial reactions to this fight is this is going to be a very different Conor McGregor and a very different type of pre-fight because Conor McGregor can't get in Khabib's head the same way.
You don't think so?
No, not the same way. Not the same way. If he has to find a different way to get in his head if he's going to try at all. So I think this is going to be a very interesting lead up to the fight.
Your initial reaction, who wins? I'm not asking you to make a pick, but just your gut feeling right now, just who wins?
Conor, because of what Ali Quinta was doing to Khabib. If Khabib falls in love with boxing, which I think he's starting to, Conor sleeps him.
Yeah, my gut says McGregor too. If you would have asked me a year ago, I would have said Khabib in a landslide, but first Michael Johnson showed us holes in his game, and then, as you mentioned, Ali Quinta showed us some more holes in Khabib's stand-up game. And one thing about McGregor, he does have very deadly accurate striking. Just watch the Jose Aldo fight. So, my gut says McGregor might have his number, but this isn't official. This is just, our initial thoughts.
Yeah, I will obviously have a better breakdown on that fight, and so will you. Off the cuff, just out of the two fights we saw of Khabib, I got to go with Conor. If they even get to the fight.
True. Do you know what I'm kind of disappointed about the Dustin Poirier-Nate Diaz fight? It's scheduled for UFC 230, the big October Madison Square Garden card. That's all fine and dandy. I'm disappointed because this is the co-main event, meaning it's not going to be a 5-round affair.
I know, that's so disappointing.
And I'm telling you, this fight is probably going to be a fight of the year candidate, like you said.
Well,
3 rounds isn't going to be enough for these guys. I believe this is going to be a decision fight, but I believe it's going to be a fantastic fight.
You know what I hope happens? And I'm going to make a prediction because I think it's going to happen. I think something's going to happen in the Conor versus Khabib. They're going to have to stall it, and an interim title will be made.
I was going to ask you, even if nothing happens to the Conor and Khabib,
make an interim title anyways.
Could they still?
If Conor wins, yes.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I was going to ask you. Is there a scenario where you don't see them making one? Because really, I could argue a scenario for any way. If Khabib wins, you can argue that they need to make an interim title for whatever reason. Like you said, maybe an injury occurs to him. But if Conor fights, who knows when he's going to defend?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And if you're the UFC, you almost want that to happen, right? Because the way that they fall in love with the interim titles.
And I also think that Nate Diaz, you will guarantee Nate Diaz will be there for an interim title. He'll talk shit about it the entire time, but he will
phony
definitely
ass belt,
phony ass belt,
fake ass bitch ass,
and
belt.
then he wins it. This is the real belt right here.
Yeah,
it's like what
exactly?
Because that's what Kobe Covington did, and now he's walking around with a stripped one. That one is hilarious.
Well, he's not stripped until the first punch is thrown, supposedly.
Can they? I hope that Fabricio Verdum walks up, takes it away from him, and hands him a boomerang.
Yeah, that'd be funny, wouldn't it?
But anyways, I think an interim title will be made, so we will get a 5-rounder fight. And it's going to be awesome. Wait, who's the main event?
But I think it's to be determined. They haven't announced it yet.
Ooh.
Leading to more speculation, right?
I know. I'm speculating.
So before we get out of here, man, did you see Greg Hardy in his second appearance on the Tuesday Night Contender Series?
Didn't he win?
He won in 17 seconds.
Gosh, that dude hits like a Mack truck.
Not only does he hit like a Mack truck, I'm telling you right now, I know you say this a lot, that guy scares you, this guy scares you, and I know a lot of times you're being facetious, but listen, Greg Hardy scares me, and I'm not kidding here. I'm not trying to be cute, but when he literally after he fights and he's still in that mode and he's calming down, he literally looks like a man that can easily be pushed to like do some dangerously bad things to people.
You ever seen him play football?
Yes,
It was be honest, on the Carolina Panthers, the most frightening thing I ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he is a scary dude. I mean, just after he finished this dude in 17 seconds, he's got this I want to see him and a Brock Lesnar stare down.
Brock Lesnar's crazy, but he's not that crazy.
So Brock Lesnar might be one of the meanest men to have ever lived. He is generally, after he smashed Frank Mir,
I forget about
he
that.
doubled back around, frothing from the mouth like a rabid dog, spitting in the cap, and then doubled back to Frank Mir after pounding him and said, and still wanted some. Brock Lesnar is a mean dude.
He is,
but Greg Hardy may be meaner.
Which now makes me feel his case is more real.
Seriously, if you have not seen that yet, if you have not seen that Contender Series fight, check out on Low Kick. It's like Drohoda posted a clip of that. Check that out.
I also hope that Greg Hardy really learns how to wrestle. Yeah. I'm not standing with him.
Yeah, well, that's the big issue, man. So that's why he's still on the developmental deal, because Dana White wants to see if he can defend a takedown.
I think he should go to AKA.
Oh, that would be a good. I don't know if they would take him, but what we would see.
I think that would be the best move for him. Work with Daniel Cormier and
be a great move for him.
Or out in Denver with Curtis Blades.
It's really impressive though to me to think that this man's only been training in combat sports for not even a year now, because dude, I know his stand up is very rudimentary, but you can see natural ability. Like you can't teach speed, right?
And for heavyweights, you don't need it. You just need a good. We've seen Francis Ngannou.
Yeah.
If Francis just learned how to sprawl,
yeah, right,
he would be the scariest man alive.
A lot better. So real quick before we get out of here, the 230 main card, the 230 card looks like this: the Dustin Poirier, Nate Diaz co-main. Then you have Jacare Souza, David Branch, Luke Rockhold, Chris Weidman, Yoel Romero, Paulo Costo, Derek Brunson, Israel Adesanya.
Oh my God! What?
Lyman Good and Sultan Alaviv. So pretty decent cards. I mean, they always bring it when they go to
yeah,
MSG.
That's insane. You know what? What could they put on the main?
We could put my nuts on it, and then they'll have Strauss's nuts.
UFC 223, Strauss nuts.